Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss how to become a more effective looter in Apex Legends so you can focus on your gameplay, scouting, and team rather than looting. This is going to be a several part series, but today we're going to start with dropping, use of time off drop, loot patterns, and consistency with your loot track. This Sunday, our next episode is going to be talking about how we speed loot, inventory management, and what to prioritize and what not to prioritize in a gunfight. So let us begin. In a BR, there's a random number generation, or RNG, causing upsets because there are some situations you really can't help. But what if I told you you can mitigate RNG? Look at a battle royale like a giant play or movie. The round can only last 31 minutes and 6 seconds until the final ring has finally shrunk. Meaning what you do in 31 minutes and 6 seconds is everything. Every moment has to be filled with an action, and I promise you, as you use your time more effectively, you will improve. Remember how in elementary school we got lectured to manage our time, make good use of it? Well, here is the perfect example. Now I'm going to tell you honestly, there is not necessarily a bad drop in the game. It is what you do on the drops that matter most. An example, if you pick a low loot location, you better be able to loot fast and rotate to the zone. If you pick a high tier loot location, you have to be very effective with your loot path to maximize on the loot and be ready to fight. Essentially know what you need to grab and get out, because there's a lot at your disposal. It's like shopping at a big store. If you pick a mid-tier loot location, you need to understand the downsides in terms of positioning. You either need to decide to maximize on the loot or rotate faster. Loot, while random, is consistent where it spawns. The small houses outside of Kings Canyon usually hold light, HCOGs, and accelerants. Just as an example, boxes, of course, were most likely going to hold shields, heals, or ammo. Buildings will most likely hold weapons or higher tier loot. These are examples, but if you go into Kings Canyon and go to one of those outhouses, tell me I'm wrong. You're always going to find light, HCOGs, and accelerants at some way, shape, or form out there. We'll go into an example of the loot path here in just a moment. When you drop, the people who drop sooner are going to be geared up much faster than those who drop later. This in itself is a strat, can be very effective, but also dropping sooner is usually asking for a fight with others also. Let's look at Harvester because it's a much larger loot pattern and can give me a great example of how to create your path and maximize on the timer. We're going to look at the map, discuss the timer, and when you should be out, how much more of an effective player this can make you. I have mapped out personally Skyhook, Harvester, Lava Fissure, Fragment, Tree, Epicenter, and I don't mind sharing Harvester because I don't really land here much for competitive. Now let us seriously dig through this map and share 3 different loot paths and how you can be done looting and out by the time the timer hits around 1 minute and 45 seconds and ready to fight, and this can make a huge difference for you and your team. Even if you do it yourself, this is still massive. You can still be around your teammate and make a more effective push or rotation. We're going to draw it and I'll share one person at a time in real time. Now person 1 is going to be a red dot, person 2 is going to be blue, person 3 will be yellow, and I'm going to go through it and explain each of the loot patterns. Okay, what we're going to do here first is we're going to walk through explaining in real time a loot pattern. So I'm going to start with red. Obviously where red could ideally start, and keep in mind you can trade this out however way you want. I'm just going to show an example in terms of a loot pattern to be really efficient and have everyone meet back up in the center. So red will initially land here. Now the reason they're going to land here is because later I'm going to have blue and yellow land closer to the center. Essentially you're going to grab a gun here and there's bins here in case somebody lands here and you need to help them out. But let's pretend in this instance nobody lands here. To maximize on the loot, you're going to grab the weapon here. You're going to go down the stairs, grab the loot there, and then you're going to wall bounce here, loot here, run outside, grab these bins, go right back up top, come up here, grab these bins. Then right after, you're going to jump off the side, loot underneath. Once you're done looting underneath, you're going to go through this loot pattern. You go through here, grab all this loot, go outside, grab these bins, and then voila, you're out. You'll come either back and rotate through and meet in the center. So now, let's change the color to blue. So blue is essentially going to land right outside here, and keep in mind, I might kind of ping this differently, but once we show it in real time and we go through it one by one, this is going to make a whole lot more sense and it's going to help you. So there's 2 bins right here outside the building itself. Now the person is going to land in the center and go towards the center around this little outside area and loot up there. So if there is a fight, they're going to call for red to help initially on the drop and help them loot and then run towards the center to grab that. let's say it's a blessing and nobody lands there. So they're going to loot up that whole center area, you know, the little center section right around here. Doesn't go all the way around nonetheless, but they're going to loot up there. Then they're going to jump off, grab the bins underneath here. Then they're going to cut through this area, cut, grab the bins outside, run back in. Boom, they're done. Then they can come back and rotate and meet in the center. Now for yellow, ideally they're going to land on the opposite end over here. Hit these bins right here. They're not going to run through the center, but on the upper echelon area here, they're going to loot this. Now, if blue needs help, they'll run to the center. But in this case, let's just pretend nobody's landed here, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to, and keep in mind I might be misaligning this map, but nonetheless, you'll get the concept that once we're in there, I'm going to show you in real time. I'm going to hop into a random pub and do my loot pass so you see it. But I want you to see it physically on the map so it makes a whole lot of sense. So then they'll run inside the building, grab the bin, grab the loot, go this way, wall bounce here, go out, grab these bins here, come back up. And then at this point, they can come back through the center, help out, ask for what they need in terms of loot. If somebody missed something, they'll grab all the pieces. But at the end of the day, everyone will meet up here and you're ready to rotate. Now, you literally could change this whole concept here and you could have this in many ways. You could literally have red start this way and do the opposite angle. The only reason I'm recommending this is so everyone's in the center, because ideally if you were to have everyone start at a different angle and work their way in, if everybody lands center and has all the loot, you're most likely going to get screwed out pretty hard, because essentially you could do the opposite and then work your way in, you know, that way as well. So you could do the opposite angle just to make sure you maximize on all the loot, because keep in mind, we hit every single bin, every single area, and if you do this and everyone's very efficient, you're gonna pretty much loot harvester to 100%. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna hop in immediately into a round, and I'm gonna show you red's loot pattern. So let's hop right into that. Yo, thanks dude. I'm landing harvester to show people how to loot. Hopefully nobody contests with us so I can kind of explain this to people. Okay, so I'm in a round now. Luckily, I don't think anybody's contesting us, so this is perfect to show loot pattern. So ideally, they won't follow a loot pattern, and this is perfectly fine because I'm just explaining it. So remember I said I'm going to land here initially on the side, and I'm going to grab a gun. Luckily, nobody's here, so if you grab a weapon, now if they're in trouble, I would probably help them. I'm going to loot here and go this way. There usually is a weapon here. Grab that, swap that, wall bounce, go this way. Now I'm gonna hit these bins here. They're actually kind of doing, which is actually perfect in my eyes, effective loot pattern, so that's good. So keep in mind, I'm gonna come back this way. This is in-game, real time. So if they didn't hit these bins, which they did, I'm gonna drop here. I'm gonna hit this right here, 2 seconds. Actually, grab the vault instead. Go this way. The timer is 2 minutes and 33. Look how efficient this is. This is extremely efficient. Walk out this way. Hit this bin right here. Hit this bin right here. I don't need that. I'm gonna run back into the door right here because there's no loot over there. There is loot at the opposite end here. Use that for cover. Hit this bin. Go to the center right after. Dude, we're done looting. That's it. It's 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Easy. Now, if they did their loot pattern and everything, look how fast and done Harvester is. I've literally gone through everything and literally completed this. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, man. And look how nice they were. They dropped me stuff. So you see how we would meet up in the center and we would be done at this point? Perfect loot pattern, in and out. Now we're in the discussions of how we get out of here and how we rotate. It's so simple. It's so easy, but it maximizes on loot, right? Like if they did that similar loot pattern and they looted their area, it makes Harvester, which would be overwhelming, much easier to loot. And it's amazing, man. All right, so we're going to wrap up the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. I hope this really, really helps people out in terms of loot pattern in general.